Will California experience a massive earthquake soon? Will it be the biggest in the history of the United States? And how likely are those predictions of an inevitable catastrophe along the San Andreas Fault? This is our channel, and today we're going to talk about whether a massive earthquake along the San Andreas Fault is indeed inevitable. The largest earthquake that has ever hit California was the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, with an estimated magnitude between 7.2 and 7.9. It caused massive damage throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. Some parts of the city were completely destroyed. Fires broke out everywhere due to broken gas mains, and tens of thousands of people were left homeless. Even though it happened over 100 years ago, it still is one of the deadliest earthquakes in U.S. history, causing an estimated 3,000 deaths and many more injuries. The main reason why this earthquake had such a devastating impact is the location of its epicenter just offshore from San Francisco. It was followed by numerous strong aftershocks, and the total damage cost is believed to have reached $360 million in 1906, equivalent to over $12 billion today. And since then, California has been preparing for the next big one. But how big will it be? The state lies right on top of the infamous San Andreas Fault line, a major tectonic boundary where two of Earth's massive, irregularly shaped slabs of crust, the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate, meet. The fault line extends approximately 800 miles through the state from near Los Angeles up to Cape Mendocino, just south of the Oregon border. It also includes several branches and offshoots which further complicate things. Earthquakes occur when these massive rock plates that make up the Earth's crust suddenly shift along a fault line. As a result, they can range anywhere from barely perceptible to completely destructive. They all release energy in the form of seismic waves that travel through the Earth's layers. The strength of an earthquake is measured by the Richter scale, which is a logarithmic scale. Each whole number increase represents a tenfold increase in amplitude and approximately 31.6 times more energy released. The San Andreas Fault is a transform fault, meaning that the two plates slide horizontally past each other. The section of the fault that runs through the Los Angeles area is creeping, meaning that the two plates move almost constantly at a rate of a few inches per year. However, the central and northern sections of the fault do not creep and instead stick, locking the plates together. As a result, stress builds up along the fault line at a rate of roughly 1.5 inches per year, which eventually causes the rocks to break and the plates to suddenly lurch forward, causing major earthquakes. According to geologists, the southern section of the San Andreas Fault has the potential to produce a magnitude 7.8 earthquake. At the same time, the central and northern portions of the fault have the potential to produce an earthquake greater than magnitude 8. So what does this mean? Does this mean that a M8 quake is imminent? To answer this question, we need to take a closer look at what scientists actually know about the San Andreas Fault. The first thing that we need to clarify is that the San Andreas Fault isn't just one single fault. It's actually a group of faults that are all connected. These faults are all part of the larger California tectonic province, which is located on the edge of the North American Plate. The San Andreas Fault is the boundary between the Pacific and North American plates, but there are also several smaller faults within the North American Plate itself. For example, the Hayward Fault and the San Jacinto Fault. These smaller faults are just as active as the San Andreas Fault, and they also pose a significant risk of earthquakes. However, the San Andreas Fault is the most active and most dangerous fault in California. There have been many large earthquakes along the San Andreas Fault in recorded history, including the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, and the 1994 Northridge earthquake. All of these earthquakes have caused significant damage and loss of life, but despite their size, none of them have been the big one that scientists have been warning about. The big one refers to a hypothetical earthquake that is expected to occur along the San Andreas Fault. This earthquake is predicted to be much larger than any earthquake that has occurred in recorded history, and it could potentially cause catastrophic damage. According to the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, the likelihood of a magnitude 7.7 or greater earthquake occurring in the next 30 years is about 7 to 10%. In other words, there is a 7 to 10% chance that a major earthquake will strike California in the next 3 decades. Some scientists believe that a large earthquake is imminent along the San Andreas Fault. They cite the fact that the fault line has been locked up for several years now and that the stress is building up. Others argue that there is no way to predict when an earthquake will occur, and that it is impossible to say when the big one will hit. So what do we really know about the big one? Well, first of all, it is important to remember that the big one is just a nickname for a major earthquake that could happen along the San Andreas Fault. No one knows exactly when or where this earthquake will occur. Scientists have estimated that the likelihood of a magnitude 7.7 or greater earthquake in the next 30 years is about 7 to 10%. That means that there is a chance, albeit small, that it could happen any time now. The San Andreas Fault is a major tectonic boundary between the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. The two plates are moving in opposite directions and are constantly grinding against each other. This creates a lot of stress along the fault line, and it is this stress that builds up over time and eventually releases itself in the form of an earthquake. It is impossible to predict when this will happen because the Earth's crust is so complicated. There are so many different factors at play that it is impossible to accurately forecast when an earthquake will occur. But what we do know is that it's only a matter of time until it happens. So why is it called the big one? Well, it is called the big one because it is expected to be much larger than any earthquake that has occurred in recorded history. According to the USGS, the likelihood of a magnitude 7.7 or greater earthquake occurring in the next 30 years is about 7 to 10%. That means that there is a chance, albeit small, that it could happen any time now. The big one is a term that has been used to describe a major earthquake that is expected to occur along the San Andreas Fault. The earthquake is predicted to be much larger than any earthquake that has occurred in recorded history and could cause catastrophic damage. While it is impossible to predict when the big one will hit, it is important to be prepared. By taking steps to protect yourself and your family now, you can help ensure that you are ready if an earthquake strikes. The first step is to make sure you have a disaster preparedness plan in place. This should include things like having a meeting place for your family to go to if you get separated and knowing what to do in the event of an earthquake. You should also have a supply kit that includes things like food, water, medicine, and other essentials that you will need in the event of an emergency. Another important step is to secure your home and make sure that it is earthquake resistant. This includes things like securing heavy furniture and appliances, bracing bookshelves and cabinets, and having your chimney inspected to make sure it is safe. You should also check your insurance policies to make sure you have adequate coverage in the event of an earthquake. Finally, stay informed. Keep up to date on earthquake safety tips from the USGS and other reputable sources, and make sure you have a way to receive alerts in the event of an earthquake. There are various apps and devices that can do this. In conclusion, while the big one has yet to strike, it is important to remember that it is only a matter of time until it does. So take steps now to protect yourself and your loved ones, and you will be better prepared if an earthquake strikes. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, comment and share for more, and thanks for watching.